Hi everyone, welcome to the Underground. I'm your host Adam Beckley, where we cover over jiu-jitsu basics that are focused primarily on self-defense. Some of it can be used in competition and some can't. Depends on your rule set. So today we're going to be covering kicking. We're going to be covering basic ground kick as well as the up kick. So if you're watching this video and you're going to be doing a tournament a weekend coming up or a couple weeks from now and you're looking for techniques to try and score, this is not going to go well. You're going to get disqualified pretty quickly if you throw kicks, unless you're doing combat jiu-jitsu, but even then they only allow for open palm strikes. These can work for MMA though. The up kick in particular is pretty common. That can be pretty effective. But these are going to be primarily focused on self-defense situation. And again, we don't want to have to use strikes. Jiu-jitsu is a gentle art, but sometimes a strike calls for, what I guess I'm trying to get to is that sometimes strikes have to be necessary in order to get a stun. So that way we can have a little bit of an advantage, because if you're in a self-defense situation, guess what? You're at the disadvantage. If you had the advantage in a self-defense situation, you wouldn't have to defend yourself. Plain and simple. So you might have to use a kick or two in a self-defense situation. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it's not about winning or losing in this case. It's about surviving. So I hope that you get something out of this. And if you are my student and you're just watching this for the first time, please subscribe so that way you can get previous episodes as well as future episodes, because I plan on continuing to do this for as long as this whole lockdown pandemic stuff that's going on. In case it comes back and rears its ugly head, I've got a counter for it. I've got this video channel. Although it might not be perfect, it does what it needs to do. So hopefully I'll get better as a YouTuber in time. So bear with me over my stuttering and running over my words. So we're going to be covering kicking. So in previous episodes I covered about how to do scooting if we're in like a guard situation. So this is primarily to disengage. I'm not worrying about armbarring the guy. I'm not worrying about getting a triangle choke. I see an opening and I want to get out of there, because who knows what might be going on with the situation. He might have friends, he might have other people that are coming, and you don't want to be tangling with a guy on the ground if there's a bunch of other people that are going to be standing over you, kicking you, punching you, hitting you with who knows what. So always when there's a chance to escape, take it. There's no shame in that. There's no glory in staying there and trying to fight with someone if you don't have to. You got nothing. You guys got nothing to prove. But you do have families to go home to. You do have friends to go home to and pets to take care of. They're counting on you. So they come first before your pride. So if I'm here and I'm in the guard, and I'm holding, I'm coming up here, and we're kind of scrambling a little bit. Use your imagination. I know he's a little bit tired. He's had a lot of fun this weekend. I'm going to brace and kind of create a frame so I can back away and get away, right? And then once I get away from here, and I kind of have a hand in front, this is where my kicks are going to come into play here. So I'm going to be doing these particular kicks from sitting at the beach position, and they're very powerful. What I want you to think about when you do these kicks is you're going to focus your heel, okay? Some arts are like focus the instep of your foot, focus the ball of your foot, focus your heel. Drive your heel into them. It's going to be super effective. I'm not saying those other kicks are bad, but for this situation, we want something that's it's going to get the job done, and the heel will get the job done. So I'm here, I create my distance, I scoot away. So ideally, the bottom foot is going to generate the most power. Your top foot's going to generate some power, but in this position, but it's not going to be nearly as strong. Kind of like in boxing, if you throw a jab, yeah, you'll make a connection. But if you throw a cross, that cross is going to have a lot more power because you can get your hip into it more and your body behind it more. So I'm here. We'll start with the lead kick first, the upper kick. I'm going to be here. I'm going to make sure I come up, suck your knee in, and explode out. And I'm kind of kicking at the side here, focusing my heel into the chest, into the groin, the stomach, and into the groin. I kind of toe it up a little bit. So you can see what I'm doing: chest, head area, stomach area, groin. Because I have to curve my foot based on the person's appendages. So in this case, his legs being here, and I try and do a side kick, my toes are going to stop it from delivering the maximum amount of power, so I have to turn it in order to sink that right in. Don't practice this on a partner live. If you have pads or pillows, that's what you're going to want to use, because this is going to be a good day for them if you're kicking them in the groin, unless they're a glutton for punishment. So, groin kick, making sure I focus the toes up to his chest, stomach, and chest area. Head area, I mean, I wouldn't, in this position, I wouldn't even get that high up with the lead kick. You might be able to with the rear, but I wouldn't even go up this high because you actually start to lose power here to the head. Although some people are big fans of it, I'm not. If you're using your lead leg, stick to the chest, stick to the stomach, or stick to the groin. The bottom leg now. And I'll do these without the grappling dummy so you can get a better look on it. Plant the foot, so just like when we do our technical stand-up. I come up here and I pick up my foot, and I come back, right? Instead of bringing it back though, I'm making sure I'm nice and based up, come up, and then I'm going to drive my foot. A lot more power on that. Again, come up, kick. And I think stomach, chest, you can kick to the head here because now I got the support of my lead leg, my backhand here, and I can help to articulate that a little bit better. And coming up through and kicking to the head and the neck. And I'm focusing my heel. So when I come up here to the head, focusing the heel. Don't kick him with the ball of your foot. Give him your heel. Same with the chest. Same with the stomach. As far as the groin, well, I mean, you can this position, but I think the lead leg in this position would be better for kicking the groin. Mainly, the good focus is the chest. That's the safest bet, especially if you hit them in the solar plexus. Those of you who don't know where your solar plexus is, take a minute, feel your ribs, follow them up. There's a tiny little ball there. Yeah, press on that. Don't do it too hard though. It feels kind of sickening, right? You focus your heel into that. That's like the worst. That'll make him feel like crap. That'll be pretty devastating. That'll drop and probably knock the air out of him potentially, depending on how hard you hit him. So, bottom leg, come up, kick. I can go to the chest, I can go to the head, and I can go to the stomach. All right, and that's that variation. Without the grappling dummy, because we're not going to need him anymore. Looks just like this. Groin kick, stomach kick, chest kick, to the bottom leg, come up, stomach kick, chest kick, head kick, if they're kneeling. If they're standing, then we're going to do a completely different set of things that we're going to do here. If you're like, another variation, just like when we were doing the scooting, if you remember, like I told you in previous episodes, this stuff connects and it flows. So if you're not a fan of this, and you're still a beginner at it, and I understand if you are, a lot of you are that are probably watching this, hands would be behind just like so, and you can come up and kick. I toe out my foot slightly when I do this. versus being straight up. I mean, if you're going for the groin, then maybe. But I kind of toe out whenever I go to the body. Focusing the heel. Why? Because I don't want my toes to get compromised on the upper extremities of like his chest or his chin. So I don't want to jam my toes. I want to try and come out of this unscathed as much as possible. So if I can come out of it with unjammed toes or fingers, then beautiful. But if it happens, then it happens. As long as you survive, that's the primary focus of this. So with the grappling dummy, I'll come back here a little bit so you can kind of see how it looks. Get him set up. Well, kick, kick. Now, these also can go hand in hand if the person is standing over us too. So if the person's standing over us just like this and they've got 1 foot forward or whatever foot forward, or maybe they've got both feet forward, these kicks can be focused. That's why I like turning them off to the side here, because I can focus them off the shin. The shin, or coming right up to the knee here, where it helps to buckle out the knee. Keep in mind, this is very devastating. You're going to mess up someone's day really quick. So if you are practicing this with someone, make sure they've got a pad. Make sure you do it slow for form, and you're nice and controlled on this, because even if you're a little guy, doing this against a really big guy, it's going to hurt him. It's going to hurt him really bad. So please be careful when you're drilling this, if you're drilling this with another person. But if you have a heavy bag at home, a wall will work. Just be careful with drywall. I don't want you guys to put a hole in it, then you have to go down to Home Depot to get drywall repair. That wouldn't be cool. Be one way to really mess up a weekend, right? So, next variation. Had a little bit of a brain cramp there, I apologize. We're going to be doing the up kick. So the up kick involves someone standing over us, like so. You're lying down on the ground, they're standing over you, and they're trying to come up on top of you, or they're trying to throw punches, or they're trying to grab at you. It's a very bad position to be in for anybody. So if the person's standing over you, you're going to be on our back, and your feet are going to be placed into their hips. Now notice the angling of my feet. They're not straight up and down. They're going to be angled. And I'm in his hips. Okay? Why? Because the hips control the motions. What? Check my hips. Don't even look, pay attention to my arms. Say I'm punching, right? Throwing punches, or I'm trying to grab at somebody. What are my hips doing? My hips have to move. The hips are the generator, the engine to our car. If we were a car, the hips would be our engine. Everything kind of moves from our center. So we got to control those hips. If we control those hips, we're going to minimize the damage of someone trying to hit us or grab at us. So you want to make sure that you've got your feet on those hips, and they're like pedals. And you can pump them. Notice my head's up. It's not lying down on the ground like this. Don't ever be like this in this situation. Always keep your head up, because then you can move more. That way I can guard myself if I need to, and I can just really push on his hips here. Leads next to our next technique. You don't have a person to do this with that has a pad, that's okay. You can use a wall for this. And we're going to use a wall for this. So when I do this with a wall, I get my hip nice and close, coming on my back, and here I am. Sure I can see myself. I tested this prior to doing this, but just making sure that nothing's going to miss. I don't want to get a comment later on saying, Adam, you cut off half the technique. I didn't see everything. So, heads up. Feet are on the hips here. You can use pillars, use a wall, whatever you need to do. You got a heavy bag that's sturdy enough. So when I'm here, I'm gonna work on my up kick. Now imagine a person's leaning over us, just trying to push into us. So this up kick, I'm gonna make sure I plant my foot in one hip. I'm gonna bring my knee in, and notice what I'm doing. I'm rocking my hips back. Okay? And I'm going to kick straight up. And I'm on my shoulder blades, I'm planting on my foot, and I'm kicking up. And then back down. And then you can alternate, do the other side. I bring my hip up, bring my knee in almost to my chest, and I thrust up. Explode upward, so now my head is on the floor, yes, and I'm focusing my heel. Don't toe up. You get a tendency of toeing up, focus your heel. Because that heel is going to be kicking them in the chest and the head. And yes, this does work in MMA. I've seen at least 3 fights where they've ended in a knockout on an up kick. They're very devastating, and people take them for granted. So I'm here, I come up, and I kick. Come up, here, kick. This also works really well if one person tries and grabs a hold of your leg. Right, they grab a hold of your ankle and they're about to shuck it to the side. Your leg is going to be stronger than their arm strength. So when they have your leg here, you got the other leg on the hip, and you bring that in and then you thrust up. Grabbing here, there's actually a grip. The grip actually is weak here as it's thrust up through. So as the person's pulling in, that kick's going to just come right up in, and they're not thinking about pushing and holding it back. It's just going to thrust into them and hit them as they're holding. Okay? So as they grab your ankle, it's not over. It's not over yet. You can bring your foot in. You practice this to someone, you'll be surprised. When you kick up straight, you actually will break the grip in the hands. And it's a very powerful grip break. And just make sure if you are doing it in the classroom setting that you don't kick your partner in the head. I don't recommend it in a traditional jiu-jitsu practitioner setting for gym when we're rolling with our friends, rolling with our gym mates. I wouldn't recommend that I would recommend something else. But in this case of self-defense, when someone's decided to violate your personal space and they're trying to do you harm, don't hold back on them. Why? They had plenty of time to think about how wrong it was. And they decided to make that choice anyway. So again, one more time. I'm here. I'm curled up on my head. We're using their weight, the fact that they're pushing into us, to our advantage. Some of you might think they've never seen this before. Well, how are you keeping yourself up? Yeah, you're doing this on a wall, but how's this going to work on an actual person? That person is going to be driving into you because they want to hurt you. So they're pushing in and giving you their momentum, giving you their weight. So with you being in that situation, you're going to use their weight against them. Realistically though, if they're standing over you and they're pushing and they just step back like this, then yes, the up kick's not going to work because they're backing up. They're not giving you their weight. So in which case, if they do that and they back away, then we go back to our scooting and we get back to our feet. Anyways, that is our drilling for kicks today. So we've got the ground kick as well as the up kick. I hope you got something out of that. Do practice safely at home on this. Don't hurt anybody. Don't put holes in your drywall. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful night. And I will see you all next time. Take care.